Welcome to Electrified. My name is Dylan Loomis, and today we have some Tesla news. Let's kick things off today talking about Japan. This is the world's fourth largest automobile market, so of course, in the long run, this really matters. Tesla sales are not even registering in Japan to date, so let's talk about what's going on. Back in 2010, Tesla actually sent some Roadsters to Yokohama, Japan, which is the second largest city there. And they did this because they thought that it would be a great market for the Roadster. They actually said, quote, "The national government of Japan is currently pushing a full-scale electric vehicle rollout and is working with regions around the country to install power outlets for charging," end quote. So clearly, back in 2010, Tesla really expected the Japanese EV market to take off. So the question becomes now, has it? What's been going on the last 10 years? Well, to bring you up to speed, basically nothing's been going on. The plug-in electric vehicle market in Japan is not growing at all. It's still under 1%. It's been 0.9% for 2019. So actually, it's fallen behind the US, China, and even Europe in terms of plug-in vehicle sales. But let's zoom out for a second and just talk about the automobile market as a whole. Companies like Toyota, Honda, Suzuki, and Nissan, names you would recognize, are literally dominating this market. Tesla is not even in the top 20 in terms of sales in Japan. One really interesting thing to note here, Tesla's sales data in China is really hard to come by. Obviously, they don't break it out specifically, but in terms of these companies that report sales data in Japan, Tesla has reportedly asked the Japan Automobile Importers Association to withhold sales figures. This was tough to confirm for sure, but I did read this from a few different places, so I think there's some validity to it. But some of the main reasons, in my opinion, for the lack of Tesla sales in Japan are due to brand recognition. So this is actually a scenario where Tesla not advertising may indeed be hurting them. People have often mocked Japan as being like a closed society, and I guess in a sense that's true. But at the same time, they're just very used to the dealership model in Japan, and I think from what I've read, the Japanese culture really likes white glove service type of stuff. So at these dealerships, that's what they're getting, free car washes, free goodies, free whatever, basically, a different type of treatment that they're not going to get by going on their phone and buying a Tesla and then having it delivered. So I think for this to change, of course, over time, Tesla needs to market and educate people onto why it's a superior model, what are the benefits of electric vehicles, because this information is just not well known in the Japanese market. So obviously short term, this is nothing major, nothing to, be worked up about by any means, but something to track over the long term because as I said, with Japan being the world's fourth largest auto market, this is going to be a market that Tesla will want to penetrate much more than they are right now because at this point it's basically zero. And obviously, it's not actually zero. I'm just being dramatic, but in all reality, it's nothing that will move the needle at all. Moving on from Japan, let's talk about software hacking in Teslas. So I think it was a couple months ago, this company Nginx had created a hack basically for the Tesla software upgrade that boosted the dual motor performance by 0.5 seconds in the 0 to 60 time. So as you may or may not know, Tesla charged $2,000 for that, but this company was only charging $1,100, so almost half the price. And it was basically this little connected, it was actually a physical device that you plug into your media control unit, and then voila, you have these upgrades and some other things too, like drift mode and different features. So obviously, Tesla was not going to let this fly as they would be losing out in eventually $1 million in revenue because software as a service is going to be massive, massive, massive. So Tesla's pushback, they obviously patched this, and now apparently some of the owners that bought this Nginx product were getting notifications saying incompatible vehicle modification and a warning about potential damage to the vehicle. Now, obviously, this in and of itself is not a big deal, but this becomes a very big deal when you zoom out and think about the long term. I want to talk about the paradigm shift in car ownership. So, Historically, with traditional autos, when you buy a car, that car is yours to do whatever the heck you want to do with it. If you want to trick it out, mod it out, paint it, add whatever, go right ahead, it's yours. But with cars now transitioning to being very software dependent, well, in all reality, it's only Teslas that at this point are so heavily dependent and utilizing software. But this is really going to change the ownership of a vehicle because one can argue that when you buy a Tesla, you don't have the ability to make these changes and to do these things that historically people have been able to do with no repercussions. Personally, on this one, I'm a little torn because when I buy a Tesla, which I 100% plan to, I do want to be able to do to it what I would like. However, Tesla can't let things like this go. They would be giving up millions in dollars in terms of software as a service sales. So people are complaining that, oh, Tesla needs to chill out and yada, yada. Well, yes, I hear you and I empathize with you. But at the same time, this Tesla product is so different and so reliant on future software sales. And in my opinion, they deserve that revenue for creating this new ecosystem via a car that has never existed before. So, where do you guys stand on this? Let me know below. I'm genuinely curious because I could easily make an argument for both sides. Next up, we have some Model 3 design change rumors. If you've been on Twitter over the weekend, you probably saw this. First up, I just want to say this is mostly speculation. It does seem like there's something tangible going on here, but nothing has been actually confirmed. With that said, one item was a smaller frunk on the Model 3. So the speculation with this has been that the Model 3 is now going to have a heat pump and the octavalve system, which the Model Y has. And that would be awesome because the heat pump and the octavalve are excellent when it comes to efficiency, especially in colder climates. Without getting into the details, because I'm well out of my depth when it comes to the actual engineering of the octavalve and the heat pump, Sandy Monroe did a teardown, but he didn't even release any of the technical specifications or how this really operates because Monroe and Associates, they need to sell this data, which they plan to do. Depending on how much it costs, I would love to buy it and look into it, but for now, just know that the heat pump and the octavalve are incredible feats of engineering. Sandy did say it's something that he would see in a jet engine, not a car, and he's really excited about getting this technology to other automakers. As a Tesla investor, that's not the best, but as someone who wants electric vehicles to continually improve and sustainable energy to win, this is great that Sandy's getting this technology out there. The second thing, which would be more tangible in a way, is the Model 3 getting a power tailgate. So this was one of the reasons why I would lean toward a Y over a 3, among others, of course, but the power hatch is really nice and something that I've always wanted. You know, as a golfer, this would be a great feature. And if the Model 3 had a power tailgate, that would be sweet. So I hope that this becomes more than a rumor. Quick announcement, we have a Neuralink event coming up on August 28th. This is one of Elon's companies I have not covered too much, but if you guys would like to learn more about this company, I'm happy to research and look into it, so just let me know. But there will be a live stream that they will apparently show neurons firing in real time, so that should be interesting. And Elon said, quote, "Wait until you see the next version versus what was presented last year. It's awesome. The profound impact of high bandwidth, high precision neural interfaces is underappreciated. Neuralink may have this in a human as soon as this year. It just needs to be unequivocally better than Utah Array, which is in some humans and has severe drawbacks." It was reported that Porsche is apparently involved in an emissions scandal. And honestly, guys, I'm so done with these scandals and people lying and cheating. I'm just completely over it, but it was worth reporting. And I guess this was for vehicles from a couple years ago. So current vehicles are apparently okay, but the investigation is underway. So go ahead and keep an eye on that if you'd like to. But personally, not really interested in Porsche or any of these cheating companies. So the Mac Daddy big news of today's episode is with regard to Amprius Technologies. So, who are these cats? Well, if you've seen anything about the silicon nanowire technology, this is the company that has developed that. They actually moved across the street from Tesla in Fremont, and they're now next door neighbors with the Roadrunner facility where Tesla is creating and developing their own in house battery cell production lines. Which, by the way, construction at the Roadrunner facility has been underway and moving along well. This 100% silicon nanowire technology is a major deal. Now, when Tesla announced their battery investor day with the background image, here it is if you haven't seen it. As we know, Elon likes to hint at things and he likes to get people reading between the lines, which I personally really like because, as Tesla fans, reading the tea leaves is one of the most enjoyable parts about following this company. And a lot of the speculation is that this background in the image is silicon nanowire technology. I won't get into the weeds on that in particular, but if you have a strong opinion, I'd be happy to hear what you think it is below and if this is indeed the silicon nanowire reference. So, why is any of this a big deal? Well, it's a good thing that you asked. Silicon actually has 10 times the storage capacity of graphite, which is obviously great. However, the historical issue has been swelling during charging, which causes fracturing in the battery cell itself. So, what's the solution? Enter Amprius technology and this silicon nanowire tech. If you'd like to learn more about this, just let me know. I'd be happy to do a deep dive and release an episode on it sometime this weekend. And I know that the limiting factor is now the leading battery channel for Tesla. Mad respect to Jordan. However, it's just a topic that I haven't covered since some of my earlier battery day videos, but I'd be happy to jump back in and get into the weeds if there's interest for it. Next up, there was a mysterious tent spotted at Giga Berlin. Unfortunately, I don't have any concrete news as to what this is actually for, but I wanted to mention it because some of the Twitter comments were priceless, so I'm going to pull them up. We have EV Bike Dude saying, beer tent for the workers, obviously. It's pretty good. This cat says, that's the rave tent, obviously. If you're not familiar, Elon has talked multiple times about raves and clubs at the Tesla Gigafactory, so that's pretty funny. Some actual speculation was that it's early Model Y production, so you can take that for what it's worth. And the last one, Sawyer Merritt says, that's the Tesla Short Shorts production tent, obviously. That was my favorite of all of them, and we are still waiting for our delivery of Tesla Short Shorts. So we will definitely have Ashley sport those when we get them. And the last bit of news for today's episode, Daniel Ives of Wedbush did increase his bull case for Tesla stock to $3,500. He cited demand accelerating in China and battery potential. So if you guys aren't familiar, I came from a financial background, and personally, these analyst price targets, you might as well roll the dice and add up the numbers at times. Some people are slowly getting a hold on how to value Tesla, but in all reality, no one has any idea. The reality of the situation is that Tesla is a company that is one of one. There's never been anyone like it, and there may not ever be another like it. They are not a car company, they're not a tech company, they're not an energy company. They are all of them and then some, and they innovate and iterate unlike anyone else. For anyone that says they can actually properly value this company, you're wrong. I mean, you can be close, and ARK Invest has probably been the closest. There are just so many unknowns when it comes to full self-driving and robo-taxis, and these are literally world-changing things that you cannot put a value on because of the unknown. So yes, you can try, but me personally, I never put too much stock into these price target upgrades because ultimately they are meaningless and oftentimes have ulterior motives behind them when these analysts work at places that have stock in these companies. So you can take it for what it's worth. Me personally, I don't really care what these analysts are saying. The only one that I will pay attention to is Rob at Tesla Daily. So with that, I hope you guys got something out of this episode. Thank you for tuning in. Please like the video if it was informative in any way, or if you enjoyed, consider subscribing for some more Tesla content, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Have a great day.